Two events clearly define the beginning and the ending of the millennial reign of Christ. These two events are the resurrections of the just and the unjust, which will occur at the first and second resurrections. The resurrection of the just takes place at the first resurrection and denotes the start of Christ's millennial rule, which will begin at Christ's second advent. The resurrection of the unjust will take place at the second resurrection 1,000 years later, designating the end of the millennial reign. Shalom, my name is Guy Smith, and this is the 14th video in this channel as the days of Noah. In this video, we're going to begin examining the gospel of the kingdom. Every coin has two sides, a head and a tail. And though there are two facets, there is but one coin. Similarly, there is but one Christ. However, the message of Christ also has two facets, which are the two advents of Christ. Christ's first coming is where he was physically born into the world as a sacrificial lamb to take away the sins of those which willingly accept his sacrifice, and establish himself as the king of a future kingdom on earth. So the good news of Christ's first advent is best described in the Bible as the gospel of salvation or reconciliation. At his second coming, Christ is predicted to come as a conquering warrior. This future event begins at the end of the age, when Christ subjugates the kingdoms of the world and sets up his kingdom on earth. This good news of Christ's second advent was the prominent message Christ shared and is best described in the Bible as the gospel of the kingdom. And like the visions of Daniel, which were sealed meant only to be understood by certain individuals, the gospel of the kingdom was also secreted, as parables meant only to be understood by those whom God calls. The classic example is the parable of the weeds. The first step in understanding this parable is to establish some definitions. Fortunately, those of us living today in the end times have tremendous insight into these secrets about the kingdom because Christ had defined the players of this parable to the disciples. Christ begins by clarifying that the fulfillment of this parable can be compared to that of a harvest, and that this proverbial harvest will take place at the end of the age. He further establishes that the world is the field of this future harvest. And the sower who sows the good seed is Christ himself. The harvesters are the angels. The good seed represents the people of the kingdom. And the weeds symbolize the people of the devil. With definitions established, let's determine what the message is being conveyed in the parable. As previously stated, the events in this parable will begin at the end of the age, where out of the ashes of the former kingdoms, Christ will establish his kingdom on earth. Inside the boundaries of this kingdom is where the righteous people of God will cohabitate and reign with Christ for 1,000 years. However, at the time that Christ first establishes his kingdom, there will be uninvited guests within its borders. So Christ will dispatch his angels to gather all that would cause sin and do evil, and like weeds, they will be cast outside the physical boundaries of his kingdom, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And it is these individuals which are outside the kingdom that Christ will rule with a rod of iron. So in review, Paul taught about Christ's first advent, which is the gospel of salvation or reconciliation. Christ, however, shared the gospel of the kingdom, which is about his second advent and the establishment of his future kingdom, which Christ conveyed in parables, meant to be understood only by those whom he calls in the end times, when transportation and knowledge are vastly increasing.